Hello and welcome back to our little slice of vintage story. Today we're going to be looking at making a few more clay items that we hadn't completed the last time. And I believe also in my hurry to get the other pieces last time, we left some pots in here. And unfortunately when they are left laying on the ground without physically collecting them, they despawn. So I believe we have one of these remaining because we picked up one, but the rest vanished. We do need a watering can so that we can start creating some seed beds here and we can get some water on them, we can grow some food. It's very, very important. And on top of that, we're going to want to do some storage, proper clay storage, and then a couple of extra moulds. So that is where we shall begin. And we will take these out of here. Let's begin with the watering can. There we go, so we've got our watering can. And the next thing we need, we're going to require a hammer that we need to be able to break apart the copper ingots when we find them, or not ingots, sorry, the copper ore when we find them inside the stone. And so the next thing we're going to require are some ingots moulds. And the next thing we're going to need is an axe mould and a shovel mould. So there's our axe. We'll just place some of these in the other container so we can move around. And so now we need our shovel mould. Now another one is the weapon. Here we go. Forks blade mould. Okay, I think that will do us for now. So we'll put our clay back, and then at some point in the near future we will go and gather some more of that. What we are going to require now is some wood. I think we can use this oak here because, if I'm not mistaken, we actually have quite a few oak trees near us. The reason I was trying to keep the oaks previously was because you need them for tanning the leather. The tannins themselves are on there. Okay, so we put that down. The reason I'm going to do this now is because it's going to take a little while for all of this to cook. And I want it to be ready for when we are ready. So our clay pits have been set. It's now time to light them. And hopefully in a short time we can come back and gather these parts that we require for the rest of the bronze tools. The next task is to create a small vegetable patch in here so we can get some crops on the go. And that should give us something to eat, but we are first of all going to have to create another tool. But we'll use basic tools for now. So that's the flint hoe we require. And this will allow us to take the top surface off of the soil and plant vegetables and various seeds. This is forest floor. This isn't particularly good. And we're going to try and find some higher fertility soil that we can utilise in this area, so that our initial success with our vegetables and our various grains can be a little better. We're going to need all the help we can get. And this is where you can see the difference between the soil layers. The colour of the soil tends to be darker or lighter. You can see up here, it looks like we have some medium fertility soil up here, so we will have a look and grab this. Oh, we have high fertility. This is very good. This is very good. I've managed to find some additional flax seeds. They were fairly nearby, and we should also have enough soil now to create a high facility growing area in this patch here. So we are missing just 6 if we can find it. So I was unable to find any more of the high quality soil, unfortunately, high fertility. So for now we will just utilise some medium facility soil, and we will till the ground. And you can see here that we now have the ability to plant crops. But the soil is dry at the moment. And so this is where we choose our seed. And I think in this particular situation, we're going to want a little bit of a spread. It's good to have some grain. We don't have a great deal here. And we definitely want some vegetables so that we can make our stews a little bit interesting to eat. We might also want a bit of flax as well in case we need to make any cloth. So we will take these. I'll leave the spelt for now. Turnip seeds we can take. And I guess we can also leave... In fact, we can take, I think, the spelt for now, because we have a few of those. We'll leave the rye for later. And so now we just take the seeds and plant them. And I think the first ones we will do is the spelt, which we can do in the less fertile soil. Leaves us with 2 more here. I suppose we can maybe use the other one. We only have 2 of them. Then we can have a spread. Normally you would be quite careful with what you place down, because as you can see here, we have nutrient levels in the soil. And it's very important to balance these out. Certain vegetables will require a certain type. It'll tell you on the seed when you plant it, whether it is a K, an N or a P, and you rotate your crops to replace the soil as it recovers, so that you can keep growing in the same patch. And you can also add fertilizers and that kind of thing as well. So we now have our seeds planted, and we should hopefully be safe from any of the rabbits around, as it's a rather small area. It's very important to not leave any doors open, because the rabbits and other small creatures will try to get in there and eat the various vegetables. And as we can see here, we still have a little ways to go before we get the items that are in here as well. And so the next thing we're going to want to do is give ourselves some protection against various enemies and wild animals. So we're going to create some armor. If we go to the help screen, we can type in, and you can see here we have improvised body armor that we can utilize. We click on that and you can see we need logs, some dry grass and a knife. There, we will do that. And now we can go to our character screen and we can place our armor on our character. So we now have armor, we have a little bit of protection, which is good. And so here we can see a seam that I've dug out exposed slightly that shows us what a copper seam looks like in the game. So what I'll do, I will gather some of this for us now. Another thing you can do is to actually chisel blocks to create individual blocks that you can pick up. If we can do that here. There we go, there's one. If I can get rid of something in here. I guess we can get rid of this little knife. These smaller stones are also quite useful. You can make pathways and that kind of stuff with them, but for now we're going to get rid of them. You get so much of it later. So this rock here is very important, stone block. I will go into the details of that a little later. But for now I'm going to get at least 3 of those blocks, because they are very useful. And the idea is that when you're chiseling away for them, you're removing the supports around them before you can get access to them. So by taking that out, it leaves just the blockets remaining. Again here, if I take that and that one out, you can see the only thing supporting it now is on this side. So we have 4 of those. And I haven't seen any more copper here, but it's a good chance that there is some more copper within this seam. So I shall now take this lot home. And so whilst on my way back to the house, I managed to find a small amount of tin and decided to have a look and see if I could find any in here, and I have found a small seam. So I'm going to try and gather as much as I can, but there may not be much here. Usually there isn't. Okay, this is actually quite a nice seam here, so we will be able to make a fair amount of the bronze tools, which is excellent actually. And so we're now back home and I've placed the respective items into storage, and we will break them apart once we have our hammer. And in the meantime, I'm going to tidy up this little area here, create a small cooking area, and start to process some more of the loose copper so that we can create the hammer that will allow us to break apart the rest of the items. And so it's the following day and we have some food waiting for us now from making some onion porridge, I think it was. Let's have a look, shall we? Hearty onion and turnip stew. There we go. It's not particularly good because it didn't have the meat in it, but it will keep us going for a little while. So we'll put that back, take these off, and then we can come back to get... We have another one here as well. So we will also store some of these pots, and we also are able to now light this. Because we should have our hammer mould ready. And in the meantime, we will pick up our other pieces. So there is our hammer. We very much need that. We shall place some of these other items away. That can go down there. And for now, these plates can just be stored, or bowls can just be stored out of our way. Okay, we're coming up to temperature now. This is good. Might need one more piece of coal. Yeah. Okay, I think we can remove those coal pieces now. It's always a good idea to be conservative with the coal. You really don't want to just leave a whole stack of coal in there. It'll burn away even if it's not doing anything. So we're now up to our baking temperature here. Okay, that's great. So we now have our hammer. And we can place that back on there. And I do believe we had a weapon one as well over here, which we can use. We have our watering can, which is excellent. Yeah, this is the one we need, the blade, and the rest we can also pick those up as well. So we don't want the shovel one, we want the blade one. This will give us some protection. We could take this back out again. Very good. And the next one I think would be, although we can't make anything with this yet, we will pour some bronze into an ingot. There we go. And I believe we're now empty. Yeah. So we've utilised all of our bronze. We can reheat these in the forge if we wish, and we can hammer them into shape. This will be ready for us to protect ourselves, and soon we'll be able to break down the other ores so that we can start smelting in a slightly larger quantities. So we're in very good shape at the moment. While we wait for those to cool down, in my hurry I forgot that we will require water as well. So with our watering can, we have water now, 100%. We can go to our plants, and now we can give them some much needed water. We should see 100%. In fact, it looks like we may already have had some rain here overnight. We can't pour the water in here, unfortunately. That's something we have to do with a bucket. But it would seem that our plants are, as you can see, we have a growth speed of 109% because of the soil quality. We have good solid nutrient levels on the particular soil, 65. On the medium soil we only have a 50 nutrient level, but the speed is okay. And everything is at 100% moisture. So it shouldn't be too long before we start seeing some crops coming through and we can eat. But we will need meat to support that until we can find plants like soy that will give us the additional protein that we require to make a balanced meal. So our tools should now be ready to collect, should be cool enough, so we will see if we can pick those up. Okay, that one is ready. We still have a few 100 degrees on this one. So we can make our hammer at the moment, which is excellent. And now that we have the hammer and the sword as well, this is great. So we can first off protect ourselves. And we can also now take the pieces of the chunks of ore and we can break them down. So we will just grab all of these, and then the same method like most other things, you just place it in there, and you can see here now we'll get 8 pieces of copper from that one chunk. And the same 28 pieces from that. So we've gathered quite a nice amount of cassiterite and the copper as well, so we'll take those out. Take that out. I think we'll put our hammer in there for safekeeping because we don't want to lose that. If we do get into trouble and end up dying, we will lose our tools on our body. And so now what we do is we place all of our copper in here. And if we continue to add the cassiterite, we will eventually see it'll tell us we can make, here we go, 705 units. Oh, if we keep going, we will waste the ore. We can keep going like this, but it won't make the correct amount. So if we take this one piece out, we should be able to get it to a flat 700. There we go. And that's the optimal way of creating the bronze without wasting too much of the tin. And so now we will light our fire. And I think on this one we will use maybe 6 pieces of the coal. There we go. Shouldn't be too long before we have a nice supply. So we're going to want to put this one in our hand here. Now another thing we are going to require now that we do have that much is we must create a anvil that we can pour material into. This will allow us to make much better tools, including the saw, which is very important. So we'll put our coal and our copper and cassiterite. Wow, I'm never going to get that one right. There we go. But we will leave those actually together in a group. And we will probably require some more clay. So let's have a look and see what we do have. 15, yeah, that's not going to be enough. Okay, I've successfully managed to navigate to some clay. And ironically it was right next to the house, so I'm guessing that's probably why I didn't mark it up, because it was very close to where we're living. I must have forgotten that. But it looks like our clay is looking good. We have 64. We have... probably be a good idea to mark this off now. Let's do... I guess blue clay there. Very, very close to home. I'm certain that's why I didn't actually mark it off. And so we will now take this back to the house and we will craft ourselves the anvil clay form. And here we go, raw anvil mould. And there we have it. Let's put this clay away. There we go. And as you can see, we have rain here, but we're okay because we're covered. So it is the next morning, and we have some food ready. I've taken a bowl full, but we have some left. And because we don't have an equal amount of food remaining to create something, what I'm going to do is I'm going to store what food we have in here into this particular vessel, and we can then place that down, and we now have some food in there. It's got a couple of servings, and we can go back to this bowl here, place this on here, and now we can make some more stew. Let's see if we're allowed to use this one. No. Okay. And so that should cook away. We'll take a few pieces of heat to keep it hot. And we can check now on our anvil. Nope. Okay, we still have a ways to go with the anvil. And apparently the little hair that we left in here has died because of the fire, unfortunately. And so we have another pot that's almost ready here. And there we go. We have additional food, which will sit there until we're ready. It will degrade over time. Perish speed, as you can see there. But for now, at least it gives us access to additional food when we require it until we can sort ourselves out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in some protection against the creatures that will be spawning in, I think, 3 days now. We have to be mindful. Now, they can spawn within your boundaries. It's not uncommon. They can't walk over objects that are of higher than 2 blocks. So we can lock them off here. We can put a door in place. At some point, we will also be putting a doorway as well. So unfortunately, we're going to have to remove one of these berry bushes. But it's in the interests of safety. There we go. We're now gated in. I know it feels a little bit like a gated community here, but we will eventually be able to put some fencing up here. And with the fencing, they actually can't go over the top of the fences. They can't just walk on top of them, unlike the blocks. So it makes it much easier. It's very similar to Minecraft in that respect. However, during the dark nights, when they do start spawning, they can actually spawn in areas that have no light. And so there's a good chance 1 or 2 will spawn in this area and they'll walk around and potentially be a small risk to us. But at least we won't have everything that's out in the open coming in and causing a problem for us. So it's very much a beginning protection system to help us survive the initial onslaught. And it's not much of an onslaught, it's not so difficult. And so we will put a doorway in here, I think, so that we have the ability to get in and out, obviously. And if I'm not mistaken, that is using some logs and some sticks. We are a little low on sticks, unfortunately. And we're going to have to go and get some. Oh, that's good. I'll do a few of these. So we have a door. Don't need one there. Probably burn down if we put that one in there. Another one here. This is great. It might be worth having one into the garden as well, but again, probably not going to be spending a lot of time on this side, so it shouldn't be an issue. And prior to this previous update, the monsters didn't actually destroy your property in any way, so it shouldn't be an issue. So for now, we will just leave the doors as an inventory item. Put that back in there. The cranberry bushes we want to put back. But I guess this time we can actually put them on this side, so that's nice. And we will use the quick delete method. Okay, another night returns. Okay, so it would seem that our anvil is, or our bronze rather, is ready, so that we can now create our anvil. So we will pick up the bronze and pour it into our mould. Ouch. So we can continue pouring these things over time. You can see we've got 7, we need another 2. We do have 2 ingots here, but we'll require a furnace to be able to burn those down again. So we now require some more bronze, which we don't have enough copper for. So I will continue by going and getting some more copper and some tin, and we will continue this on. And so we now have enough copper and tin to create 200 units of bronze. And as you can see, we are not far off of that being pourable, so that will allow us to finish our anvil. We should be able to pour straight on top of that. Now, another thing I was going to show you was also how to make paths in this game. So you can take dirt of any type, and then with the granite stones or regular stones that we've been picking up while we've been harvesting the ore, you place it on top, and you can then create stone paths. And this is very useful when you're in certain areas. It'll actually speed up your walk speed and allow you to decorate your property a little bit better. Okay, so we're now ready with this. So we can pick this up now and finish our pour. And there we have it. So that's going to take a while to cool down, but once that's finished, we will be able to get access to utilizing these, and we can then make a wood saw that we can use to cut logs down and utilize planks. That will definitely improve our ability to decorate and to create fences, but we do seem to have done quite well to this point. And there you go. We can now work with our hammer. And we also require a chisel that we're going to create. And as you can see here, this is where we get to pick up the parts. Ah, I see, it's actually destroying it. Oh, here we go, we're getting some pieces here. Not all, but some. We've got a fair few of these things. So let's hop out of here then. Granite cobblestone. So we should now be able to make... Yes, we can make a forge. This is good news. So we will now take that to our workshop. Again, we try and do everything inside in case the weather turns on us. But we will be making space. So the forge is required so that we can take the... Oops. Was not intentional. So that we can take these up. Let me just focus on this for a minute. Stone path can go in there, I think. And maybe a packet of those things. Okay, we've got some more pathways, that's good. We will make some more storage soon, we're clearly in need. But now we should be able to pick up these. And now we can place the forge down. I would say most likely it's better to put the forge where there's no wood or baskets to catch fire. So we'll pick this one up, we'll put our forge down here. And as you can see now all we need to do is to place coal in here, add fuel, which we have in this basket. And there we go. And then we take our ingots and we place them on board. So let's light this. And then although we can't capture this in one of the crucibles here, we should be able to pick this up and then place it down on there. We may require to use this tong as we do that. And we can see the temperature rising here. We want to get this as hot as possible. Now once you place the coal in this one you can't remove it, so it's a permanent. But it will keep the ingots hot and you can add... You can even take a workpiece off of the anvil and place it back onto the forge to reheat it if you're running out of time. It'll make sense to you in a moment when I pick up the item and use it. So we're now at 1100 degrees, which is the maximum amount, so we'll take one of those. So we'll take that and we'll place it on here. And now you can see we have a whole selection of new items that we can create, some of which we already have. Many of the tools can be redone, but there are some that simply cannot be made on the other one, and one of them is the saw blade. So that's the first thing we're going to do. And then we take our hammer, and you can now see, much like the clay modelling, we also have the ability to mould this to our need. We do have to be a bit careful with this one though, because some parts will allow the metal to be pushed out into the unoccupied squares, and others it'll actually chisel the item away and remove the block. So you can see here we have various hitting directions that we can do, and then we can also split the item, which will delete the blocks. So we're going to go with this one here, and we'll turn this around and we'll just hit this. There we go. And you can see the little block is moving along and falling into the slot. And we can right click and turn this. And then again I will give that a little whack there. And then we will move some more. And you have plenty of time. It's not going to be unworkable if it cools down too much, because you simply take the item and then you can place it back into the forge. And now we have the basics of the saw shape, you can see, and the rest we will be chiseling away. And there we have the saw. So, as this is still hot, first off we will see if we're actually allowed to make a saw, which we can't because we've run out of sticks. Okay, well that's fine. We will go and get some sticks and we will come back. Alright, will it let me pick it up? Yes it will. Okay, so we now have a tin bronze saw. This is a very useful item. It's not something that you use outside of your inventory as a weapon or as a selectable item. It is something that's very much used with logs. So we will try this one out in a moment. I'll show you on our oak logs here. So we take these, we place them here, place that on top, and now you can see we have some oak boards. We have 36 of them. And there you have it. So the next tool that we're going to want to do, if we can take this out, we have the shears, which makes it very easy to get more sticks and saplings and branches and that kind of stuff. We also have the scythe head, which is very useful indeed. We have the chisel, which is actually quite important for certain things. You can't make them without the chisel being involved as well. And I think that's actually the next item that we're going to craft here, is to make sure that we have a chisel. And again, this is a very simple item to craft. Hopefully we have enough time, because the forge has gone out, as this is a fairly simple one. And because it's a new item, we have to change this back again. And there we go. And I think we need to be mildly careful here with the temperature. So what we'll do, we will take this one for now, and we will place it on a tool rack, as we don't need it directly. The same with this one, and then we can free up a little bit of space for our inventory. And there you have it. We have our first tools that have been made with our anvil. And in fact, I think we should be allowed to place this also on the tool rack. There you go. Hopefully it's not too hot. No, okay, that's good. I think this is the perfect opportunity to end the episode here. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.